Browns 32-13 losers here in New England, and we will start with Myles Garrett, who set a franchise record, broke his own franchise record. He had 5 sacks today, including a couple of big sacks in the red zone that held New England to field goals early in the game, but it wasn't enough. Myles Garrett's record-setting performance wasted in a blowout loss, Mary Kay, and it's got him searching for answers, offering to give some answers, come up with answers over this bye week, and he basically said he would give up this performance for a win.
Right. It's such a familiar refrain this season. Myles having a great game, the defense having a great game, and the offense not being able to keep up. This was an embarrassing and pathetic offensive performance. Dillon Gabriel, who still is not getting much help, threw 2 interceptions in this game that allowed the Patriots to break it open in the second half after the Browns kept it close, largely because of Myles in the first half. 9-7 only they trailed. But this is just the same old story over and over again, and I honestly don't know what they can do at this point, but certainly just a championship caliber, record-setting performance. He surpassed Reggie White for the most sacks by a player under the age of 30, and it was just a great game by Myles, and he's just not getting anything from that offense.
Yeah, Ashley, it's been a theme of this season, just wasting these defensive performances, and today it stands out because of the performance Myles had. He doubles his sack total to 10 in one game alone. Probably back right in that discussion for Defensive Player of the Year, but his football team is also 2-6.
Yeah, it was fascinating, I think, to watch the way this New England team dealt with Myles Garrett. And Myles even admitted after the game he felt like he had a lot of one-on-ones this game, and that's what we were seeing. And I think it was a combination of, because of Drake May's size, because of his durability, his mobility, and his accuracy, New England almost just decided, like a basketball strategy, you know what? We're going to let Myles Garrett get his. We don't care if he breaks a single game franchise record, because Drake May is going to keep getting up, and he's going to throw a handful of more touchdowns even after Myles Garrett hits him. So I thought it was a strategy we haven't really seen teams use against Myles and this Browns defense. And we talked to Denzel Ward and Grant Delpit, who both said they thought that they were holding on to the ball longer than teams typically do. So it was just fascinating to me to kind of see the exact opposite strategy that most offenses go with in dealing with Myles.
Now, however the Browns fix this over the bye week, it's not going to include a quarterback change. Dillon Gabriel will remain the starting quarterback. Kevin Stefanski said that today after the game. Mary Kay, probably his worst game as a starter. Well, no, probably about it. He threw 2 interceptions today. The offense just overall wasn't very good. His worst game since taking over as the starting quarterback. But Kevin Stefanski not ready to go a different direction at quarterback at this point.
No, he wasn't ready at all, but I almost have to wonder, when they go back to the drawing board and break everything down over this bye week, are they going to look at it and say, we have to do something else here? I don't know what else they would do. I honestly don't think that going to Shedeur Sanders would be the fix. I don't see how that would help at all, because they just aren't getting what they need from the receiving core. They got only 2 passes from the wide receivers, 2 catches from the wide receivers, both by Jamari Thrash. That's not going to cut it. Nothing from Jerry Jeudy. He only had 2 targets, none through 3 quarters. Nothing from Isaiah Bond, who is basically supposed to be their deep threat. That's not working out. Cedric Tillman, he will be eligible to come back after the bye week, but he's not going to be the cure-all for everything that ails this offense. So really, really disappointing performance by the whole entire offense, and I think that they need to make some kind of changes over the bye week in some way, because this is unsustainable.
Yeah, and of course we'll note here too that the other options outside of Dillon Gabriel would be, of course, Shedeur Sanders, who missed this game when his back tightened up on Saturday, or Bailey Zappi, who of course is a veteran who has started games. But Ashley, even those 2 options, for as much as the Shedeur fans don't want to hear this, those 2 options, I don't know if they offer some sort of magic solution to this offense.
I know. I think that's what's so hard, is I can't help but wonder if you would start Shedeur Sanders, if it would just put him in a bad position. And look, I think the Bengals lost today, so not the best example right now, but I keep thinking about Joe Flacco leaving here, going to the Bengals, and immediately throwing for 300 yards with better pass catchers. And I think right now it's a problem when you're not giving Jerry Jeudy a target until early in the 4th quarter. I think it's understandable why he would be frustrated with that. And I think, too, the other issue is when you talk to some of these guys, especially on the offensive line, they're once again highlighting, look, all we can do basically is run the football, and now teams are just stacking the box, sitting 6 guys at the line today for a lot of it, and they held Quinshon Judkins to 19 yards. So now the one thing that was going right, you can't do because you still can't get the ball downfield.
Yeah, and look, well, obviously Kevin Stefanski going into this bye, one of the things he talked about was fixing this offense. And on the other side today, you had Mike Vrabel saying once they were done with their gimmick plays, we played pretty good defense. You had a Patriots linebacker basically saying we needed to beat the script. Now, they didn't beat the script. That was one of the Browns' best drives of the season. But after that, they played really well. And to me, Mary Kay, that intimates that there just isn't much this offense can do to get creative, to push the ball down the field. They did try a couple times today. It didn't really work. I don't know what the fix is because it's sort of like guys just need to be better, but I don't know how much better some of these guys can be outside of, say, Jerry Jeudy. I think they're so limited elsewhere.
They really are. And Kevin Stefanski says, of course, we will look at everything over the bye week, and that sort of indicates that changes will be made in some way. What is that going to look like? I don't know. Maybe he'll turn play calling over to Tommy Rees. Maybe that's one thing that they could do to try to shake things up a little bit. Once again, you mentioned the possibility, we've talked about the possibility of quarterback change. Would Shador help matters at all? Would Bailey? What about Deshaun Watson? He's going to be ready to start practicing again pretty soon if they open that practice window. Who knows? Maybe they'll get desperate enough to try Deshaun Watson at some point this season. But something's got to give. Something's got to change. This cannot go on like this for how many games do they have left? 9 or whatever?
9 games.
9 more games left. I mean, they just can't do this week after week. It's putting too much of a strain on everyone.
Yeah, and Ashley, this defense, look, they say all the right things. Grant Delpit, for example, said all the right things. He said they gave up too many big plays and all of that. But again, to me, this comes down to you lost a football game where your star edge rusher had 5 sacks, and you did force 3 turnovers in this game.
Yeah, I mean, they got 2 takeaways. They recovered an onside kick. Myles Garrett had a strip sack that they couldn't recover, but I thought overall this defense was doing the right things, especially early. And again, the offense just coughing up the football and giving the Patriots good opportunities to score doesn't help. And look, I think this defense in general, they are going to be prone to some explosive plays. And Drake May is a bad matchup for them because of that, because that is what he is so good at, even though he's only in his second year. So overall, I think just a lot that you are asking of this defense week to week. And, the quote that sticks with me is the Grant Delpit line about we know what the deal is. Like, the defense's job is to getting the ball back to the offense. And that, to me, speaks volumes about where this team is. And they know. And that, I think, makes it just as hard.
Okay, we will cover everything that happened here in New England. And, of course, as the bye week goes along, all at cleveland.com/Browns.